Pre-Republic era. The pre-Republic era is where it all started. Before the Jedi, before the Sith, and before the Republic even existed, there was the Jedi Order, the first group of Force users trying to understand the mysterious energy field that surrounded them. They lived on Tython, a planet extremely strong in the Force, and believed in maintaining balance between the light and dark sides. If a Jedi leaned too far into the light, they risked becoming weak and disconnected. If they fell too deep into the dark, they became dangerous. To keep this balance, those who strayed too far in either direction were sent into exile until they regained control. But balance is tricky, and some Jedi eventually embraced the dark side, believing power was more important than harmony. This led to the Force Wars, the first major conflict between light and dark. The Jedi who stayed true to the light won, and they realized that balance wasn't the way forward. Instead, they embraced the light side fully, leaving the old ways behind. This was the birth of the Jedi Order. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, civilizations were advancing. The discovery of hyperspace travel allowed people to move beyond their home systems, connecting different worlds and setting the stage for galactic expansion. The Jedi eventually left Tython and spread across the stars, bringing their new philosophy with them. From this moment on, the dark side was seen as dangerous and corrupting, shaping the Jedi's strict code for the future. A few key figures from this era: Zesh, a Force hound who served the Rakata, a dark side-powered empire that enslaved entire civilizations; Rajivari, one of the first Jedi Masters, who later fell to the dark side; Dagan Lok, a Jedi exiled for having visions of the future Jedi Order, which turned out to be true. By the end of this era, the Jedi were history. The Jedi Order was taking shape, and the stage was set for the next great chapter, the Old Republic era, where the Jedi would face their deadliest enemies, the Sith. Old Republic era. The Old Republic era was when the Jedi became the Republic's protectors, but it was also the beginning of their greatest struggle, the war against the Sith. The Sith didn't just appear out of nowhere. They were originally fallen Jedi who were exiled for embracing the dark side. These exiles eventually found Korriban, home to the Sith species, and took control, blending Sith magic with dark side teachings to create the Sith Order. What started as a split within the Jedi turned into an endless war between light and dark, shaping the galaxy for thousands of years. The first major Sith threat came during the Great Hyperspace War, when Naga Sadow led an invasion of the Republic. The Jedi pushed the Sith back, believing they had been destroyed. But centuries later, the Sith returned in the form of Exar Kun, a fallen Jedi who nearly wiped out the Order. Then came the Jedi Civil War, where Darth Revan and Darth Malak turned against the Republic. Revan was later redeemed and defeated Malak, but the Republic barely survived. The final and most destructive conflict was the New Sith Wars, a 1,000-year period of chaos where the Sith became warlords fighting among themselves as much as they fought the Jedi. The war ended with the Battle of Ruusan, led by Jedi General Lord Hoth, where the Republic finally crushed the Sith's last known stronghold. With the Sith gone, the Republic enacted the Ruusan Reformation, which reorganized the government and stripped the Jedi of their military role, turning them into diplomats and peacekeepers instead of warriors. The Jedi believed they had finally won, but they were wrong. Darth Bane, the last surviving Sith Lord, saw that the Sith's constant infighting had led to their downfall. He created the rule of two, one master, one apprentice, so the Sith could grow in secret, biding their time until they could destroy the Jedi from within. As the Republic entered a new era of peace, the Jedi, unaware of the threat lurking in the shadows, became overconfident in their victory. This led into the next great chapter of their history, the High Republic era, a time when the Jedi Order was at its strongest, just before everything began to fall apart. The High Republic era was the golden age of the Jedi. After the defeat of the Sith in the New Sith Wars, the Jedi flourished, focusing on peacekeeping, diplomacy, and exploration. The Republic expanded its reach, with the Jedi playing a crucial role in maintaining peace and order, especially in the Outer Rim. This was a time of prosperity, where Jedi were not just warriors, but healers, scholars, and guardians of knowledge. The Republic was strong, with leaders like Lena So pushing for progress and monumental projects like Starlight Beacon, a symbol of hope and stability for the galaxy. However, not everything was peaceful. The Nihil, a dangerous group of space marauders led by Marchion Ro, caused massive chaos, including the Great Disaster, which resulted in the destruction of a major hyperspace route and the loss of many lives. The Nihil's tactics were brutal, and they challenged the Republic's control in a way the Jedi hadn't faced before. Another major threat came from the Drengir, a dark side-infested plant species that could corrupt and control minds. The Jedi faced immense pressure to stop them, but despite these challenges, the High Republic era stood as a time of hope and success. However, with the Sith thought to be gone, the Jedi grew complacent, failing to recognize the growing dangers lurking in the shadows. As the High Republic era ended, the Jedi would soon face their greatest crisis yet, leading into the fall of the Jedi era, where everything they had built would come crashing down. The Clone Wars. The Clone Wars was a defining period in the history of the Jedi Order. The era began with the Jedi caught in a galactic conflict, no longer serving merely as peacekeepers, but as generals in a massive war. This war was the result of the manipulation of Darth Sidious, the Sith Lord hiding behind the persona of Chancellor Palpatine. Palpatine secretly orchestrated the war between the Galactic Republic and the Separatists, a movement led by Count Dooku, a former Jedi turned Sith Lord. His ultimate goal was to destroy the Jedi and consolidate his own power. As the war raged on, the Jedi were forced to command the Grand Army of the Republic, a massive force of clones created to fight the Separatists. These clones, bred from the bounty hunter Jango Fett, were loyal to the Republic, but little did they know that they were unknowingly part of Sidious's plan. The Jedi, distracted by the war, couldn't see the larger conspiracy unfolding. Instead of defending peace, they became warriors, losing their focus on what they were meant to be. Over time, Sidious manipulated the events of the war to his advantage, slowly gaining more control over the Republic while hiding his true intentions. One of his most significant moves was the creation of Order 66, which would call for the immediate extermination of the Jedi. On the day it was activated, the clones, who had fought alongside the Jedi for years, turned on them without question. Across the galaxy, Jedi were killed in an instant, and the once great order was all but wiped out. Only a few Jedi survived, including Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, and Ahsoka Tano, who had been removed from the order earlier. The fall of the Jedi was part of Sidious's plan to transform the Republic into the Galactic Empire, which he did by declaring himself Emperor. With the Jedi destroyed, he ruled with an iron fist, supported by his new apprentice, Darth Vader, who had once been the Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker. The Sith had finally achieved their goal of wiping out the Jedi, but in doing so, they also created the conditions for their own downfall. Despite the loss of the Jedi, a glimmer of hope remained. The Rebel Alliance rose to challenge the Empire, setting the stage for the eventual destruction of Sidious and the rebirth of the Jedi in a new era. But the Clone Wars would forever change the Jedi Order, leaving a legacy of betrayal, loss, and the struggle to rebuild. Now, Rebellion Era. The Rebellion Era was a time of great struggle and hope, marking the Jedi's return after their near extinction under the rule of the Galactic Empire. Following the rise of the Empire and the fall of the Jedi during Order 66, the galaxy fell under the oppressive rule of Emperor Palpatine and his apprentice, Darth Vader. However, the spark of rebellion was alive in the hearts of many, including the last of the Jedi. The most significant figure in the Rebellion era was Luke Skywalker, the son of the once heroic Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker, who had turned to the dark side and become Darth Vader. Luke, raised on the desert planet of Tatooine, had no idea of his true heritage. But after meeting Obi-Wan Kenobi, a former Jedi, Luke's life was changed forever. He became key in the fight against the Empire, joining the Rebel Alliance, a group dedicated to overthrowing Palpatine and restoring freedom to the galaxy. Luke's journey took him from a young farm boy to the leader of the rebel forces. With the help of allies like Leia Organa, Han Solo, and Chewbacca, Luke played a pivotal role in major battles, including the destruction of the Death Star. But Luke's true mission was to confront the Empire's greatest weapon, Darth Vader, his father, and the evil Sith Lord who had helped destroy the Jedi. Throughout the Rebellion era, Luke underwent training in the ways of the Force, first from Obi-Wan and later from Yoda, the last of the Jedi Masters. As Luke trained, he discovered the depth of his connection to the Force and the legacy of his father. The Jedi Order had once been strong, but now it was nearly extinct. Yet in Luke, there was hope. In the final confrontation with the Emperor, Luke showed remarkable courage, refusing to give in to anger or hate. In a moment of redemption, Anakin Skywalker was able to overcome the dark side and destroy Emperor Palpatine, fulfilling the prophecy of the Chosen One and bringing balance to the Force. This act led to the fall of the Empire and the restoration of peace to the galaxy. With the Empire destroyed, the galaxy was free. Luke, now a Jedi Knight, began his mission to rebuild the Jedi Order, but this task was far from easy. The Rebellion era marked the beginning of a new hope for the galaxy, and though the Jedi were reborn, the galaxy still faced the remnants of darkness. Despite the challenges, the Rebellion era symbolized the triumph of hope and the Jedi's return to the galaxy, ready to guide and protect it once more. New Jedi Order. The New Jedi Order was a period of rebuilding and renewal for the Jedi after the fall of the Galactic Empire. After the defeat of Emperor Palpatine and the destruction of the Empire, Luke Skywalker sought to restore the Jedi Order, training a new generation of Jedi. His goal was to prevent the mistakes of the past by teaching his students the importance of balance and humility, ensuring they would be guardians of peace without falling into the arrogance that had led the old Jedi to their downfall. Luke's first few years as a Jedi Master were filled with challenges. He faced both external threats, such as remnants of the Sith and the Empire, and internal struggles, as he sought to understand the lessons of the Force and the Jedi's place in a galaxy that had just been through the chaos of war. Despite these struggles, the new Jedi Order began to grow, with students like Jaina Solo, Jacen Solo, and Anakin Solo, the children of Han Solo and Leia Organa, showing great promise. The new Jedi Order faced its greatest threat when the Yuuzhan Vong, an extragalactic species, invaded the galaxy. The Yuuzhan Vong were immune to the Force, making them an especially dangerous threat for the Jedi. Despite the Jedi's best efforts, the war against the Yuuzhan Vong caused widespread destruction across the galaxy. During this conflict, Anakin Solo sacrificed himself, and Jacen Solo began his fall toward the dark side. Luke Skywalker, meanwhile, struggled with the weight of being the last of the Jedi Masters and the challenges of guiding the New Order. His nephew, Ben Skywalker, began his own journey, facing the legacy of his family and the rise of new threats in the galaxy. By the end of the Yuuzhan Vong War, the Jedi emerged victorious, but the cost was high, and the Order was left deeply scarred. In the aftermath, the new Jedi Order faced internal divisions, with some members questioning the role of the Jedi in galactic affairs. The Order would continue to evolve as new challenges arose, including the rise of Darth Caedus, Jacen Solo's Sith persona, and the continuing struggles with remnants of the Sith and other dark side factions. Despite these struggles, the new Jedi Order would remain the galaxy's primary defenders of peace, continuing to learn from the past and grow into a more unified and cautious group of warriors.